All right, I just came across this video on my feed and whatnot. So just to start, I am of course all for equal rights, equality for all the different genders and etc. But I am very, of course, curious, and I'm a logical person, okay? What I mean by that is there is a video going around titled, "Can you identify as transracial?" Transracial, of course, without looking up a dictionary or the definition, is pretty much, I'm black, but I identify as Cambodian. I don't know. That is what transracial is. So again, very curious to see their perspective on this. So this is pretty much an interview from, I think this person is a British influencer, but they are essentially talking about like how they are white, but they identify as Korean. So again, let's get their feedback on this and their thoughts, because again, I'm very curious about this.
Tell me how you racially identify.
I identify as Korean. I used to live in Korea. I was living there for 1 year. I love the culture, I love the history, the people.
Okay, so as you can see right from the get-go, this individual lived in Korea. I don't know if it's north or south. I'm going to assume south. And due to them loving the culture, and trust me, you know, you can be of different culture and love other cultures. Nothing wrong with that. It happens all the time. Like, it's normal. There's a lot of, I guess, different transsexual, transracial, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of different things out here, labels in which you may identify, stuff like that, okay? Again, I need to really understand the logic.
Transracial does not exist, and I think it is very, very harmful for us to push the narrative that it is possible to switch races.
I was not happy the way I was, so I went to Korea and I had the most incredible experience of my life. It changed me, gave me happiness, and people have no right to take that happiness away from me.
All right, so as we can see, she is not for transracialism. That's, I guess, the actual term there. And I can understand that. Again, I'm not going to be the one to, I guess, I mean, I really don't care what other people do with their lives, because if you're happy, do you, boo. Like, that's your life. But it is definitely something that can be, as she mentioned, harmful to like push that narrative, because you can't just be like me. I'm black. No shit. I can't just be like, you know what? I'm tired of how we're treated, you know, like as a race and whatnot. Although even our own people do it to each other. You know, this world is crazy, right? But I want to identify as white, or I feel that I am now a white man. Not how this works. No one's going to accept that, no matter how much I push that. I just can't do that. It's not possible. You know what I'm saying? It's just not.
Whatever they do isn't really of value. You don't deserve to be associated with something that you've created because a white person has either renamed it or used it for their profit. And you are not a Korean man. No matter how much surgery you do, no matter how much of the aesthetic you adopt.
Nobody can.
One thing that got me, and I saw this again, was I forgot the man's name. I think he's really for, like, you know, you can't be different genders and stuff like that. Like, again, he really pushes for it to just not be a thing. Again, that's not what I'm going for here. But one thing that he mentioned really had got to be. But again, doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, when you're alive, again, what you do with your life is what you do with your life, and how you feel is how you feel. Again, that is perfectly fine. But it is the whole thing about when you die, or when they find a deceased individual, and I don't know, they are nothing but bones, skeletal remains. They are able to figure out their gender based on like many things, such as the shape of the bones. And like she mentioned, no matter how many surgeries you get, you would still not be Korean, because genetically and all that, you are not Korean. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I can see both sides. I understand both sides without a doubt. And she's definitely going at it with the more logical approach, or the most scientific approach in a sense, right? So again, I can see both sides.
I think your skin color has a lot to do with everything you're doing. I think we need to recognize that white supremacy is a global issue. What you are essentially saying is that you can change your race.
Now, okay. I feel like she just went a little too deep, I guess, in the situation. Call me whatever you want to call me. I don't think it got nothing to do with white supremacy. And that because that person's white, that they can just feel that they can be whatever other ethnicity they want. I don't think so at all. Again, that's what they want to be, or that's who they want to be, all that stuff, that's who they are. Now, the whole thing about, you know, you want to be respectful to an extent, right? But that does not mean that you have to accept that yourself. But again, be respectful. But the whole thing about her saying white supremacy, I don't know about all that.
You don't get to ask me whether I go to protest or what I
You're
do.
criticizing me for doing something which I'm actually helping a lot of people.
You think you're helping people by taking a picture? You don't get to question me, and I'm not even going to entertain
Well, you
that.
don't get to question me.
Yes, I do. Well, I just did, so what's up?
Well, why can't I question you?
All right. Well, yeah, they getting deep here. So I can understand her approach as well as, again, from the whole thing about the history of Koreans, the history of, again, in general, like minorities. When you identify as that race, although you did not start or were born as that race, like, are you also pretty much, like, how are you somehow adopting all of the history and all of the heartaches and struggles that that race went through and still, you know, can go through today, you know, like, but because although you identify as that, others don't see it that way, and they know you are going to go through the same things they are. So I can understand that. But again, now they're getting all like bickery. They're starting to fight with their words.
I do feel we're at a time in history where we can embrace other cultures. You know, it's great to be multicultural, it's great to be diverse, and of course people do appropriate cultures, but for me, I'm appreciating other cultures, and I feel that is a good thing, and I think that will help break down a cultural barrier.
I guess my next thing is, you could definitely appreciate other cultures, but that does not mean you have to identify as that ethnicity. I said ethnicity, very weird. You don't have to identify as that ethnicity to be able to accept that accept the culture. You can do either of those things separately. It doesn't have to be one. It doesn't have to be conjoined. So that's what I've been hearing a lot of, is mainly because he loves the culture. He's lived there. He loves the whole Korean, like, ethnicity, culture, all that stuff as a whole. But I don't know. I can't really wrap my head around understanding, like, how he is approaching that whole thing. Really, again, not saying that is wrong or right. Again, that's his life, but to me, I don't get it. I don't. So I definitely understand this may be a controversial topic. I don't really talk too much about controversies on this channel and whatnot, but I'm also all for having discussions with you guys in the comments, hearing your opinions on stuff like this. I'm definitely going to try to do more of these, not in this aspect, but in general, because again, this is definitely some interesting takes on what we call life. And again, I'm very curious on what you guys stand on and how you feel about these type of topics. Let me know also how you feel about the things I said throughout this as well. But that's about it. Be sure to check out all the links in the description below. This has been DJB. Peace out, guys.